Hello, my name is Brittany Hansen and welcome to my presentation on the 4 learning models. The first is traditional face-to-face. This is when content is delivered orally and/or in writing. The second is web-facilitated. This is similar to face-to-face, but it uses a course management system. Blended or hybrid is a mix of face-to-face and online. And then we have fully online learning, in which all content is delivered online. Traditional face-to-face, the benefits include the brick and mortar experience that is familiar to most of us. It's also a little bit easier to read facial cues. Drawbacks include that synchronous and on-site environment because it's just not always the best option for those with any other responsibilities or illnesses that cannot be somewhere at a certain time. Best practices and instructional strategies include proximity to learner and monitoring. It's also easy to display objectives and go over them. Questioning techniques, immediate feedback, and teacher clarity. Appropriate learners for this, I would say it's for all ages, but it might be a little bit more common for younger learners or for subject matter that's just a little bit more hands-on. I'd like to read this quote. Tradition is still important. Despite the growth in online education delivery, the desire among traditional age students to have a college experience and the need for parents to send their families' teenagers off to college remains strong. Web facilitated. The benefits include the electronic format means less paper, but also it's more conducive to measuring student growth. This is described as a trend by the K-12 Horizon report. Drawbacks include that training will need to be provided to use a course management system, and also the internet can be a distraction for younger learners at times. Best practices include pretty much similar to face-to-face, but there's even more attention to quick and positive feedback, I'd say. Appropriate learners for web facilitated include probably secondary and post-secondary, or just courses that require daily or weekly research, handouts, and/or writing or technology-based assignments. Instructional strategies include goals and objectives can be easily referred to or posted even when the teacher is not present through that course management system. Blended learning. The benefits include that differentiated instruction and student choice. There's 4 basic models, according to iNACOL, the rotation, flex, a la carte, and enriched virtual, all of which allow for more opportunity for student-centered instruction and teachers as facilitators. Drawbacks include changes in new technology and furniture might be costly to certain districts. Best practices include that sort of flexible seating or furniture. Flipping is also a good practice. Appropriate learners, I would say K through 12. I usually picture this as sort of middle school or secondary education or districts that have that adequate funding to have that flexible seating or the technology. Instructional strategies include the chunking of assignments, one-on-one instruction, and immediate feedback, which is also pretty similar to that web facilitated also. I usually tend to gravitate more towards blending learning, and I like that rotational model because it seems to make the most sense in my environment. I'm an art teacher in a high school environment. I like the idea that students can take more ownership of their work, but still have designated opportunities to collaborate with others in smaller groups. An individual rotation model might work best for my older, more experienced students who might decide for themselves if they need more time in a certain area or to focus on a certain topic. Now we have online learning. The benefits include that you can learn from a distance. It's asynchronous, it's flexible whenever you access materials. A quote I'd like to read is, an online course, in my experience, affords an instructor a greater ability to promote accountability for individual students than a traditional classroom. Drawbacks include the technology can be sometimes unreliable or it can become obsolete. Also, pedagogy is still being established for online learning. Best practices and instructional strategies include discussions, forums, and overall frequent student and teacher interaction and engagement, just to sort of build that community. Appropriate learners include probably adult learners who are a little bit more intrinsically motivated. Also, we're probably going to see it a little bit more in post-secondary education and sometimes in K through 12 in more rural areas. These are a list of my references. Thank you for listening.